Across the river from downtown Cincinnati, in Covington, Kentucky's main Strauss, and from the beautiful village sight, sound, and stage, it's Fret Buzz. Featuring Mike Reeder. William Gilmore Weber. And the lovely Janelle Stevens as the barista. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Mike Reeder.
Hello, welcome to Fret Buzz. Today we got some really good friends with us today. We're going to play some great songs. I have Joseph Bartone.
Yeah.
Say your name.
Hey.
Bartone.
Bartone.
That works.
Taylor Shannon.
Bartone.
Veronica Grimm. And Tim Goldrainer.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So glad you guys could make it today.
Thank you for having me.
Because it looks like nobody else did, but
Yeah, we had a short crew, but we got one really good guy today, so that's all we need.
and then Elton also.
That's true.
That's all you need.
So we were just sitting here chatting, and apparently nobody had a gig.
Chitter chatting.
Yeah, chitter chatting. Yeah.
Chitty chatting.
That's it.
So since none of these artists had any gigs, William, what did you do this weekend? Besides prop your foot up.
That's pretty much it, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sit around, prop your foot up?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I wanted to see you guys at
The Mud Pies played
Miller's.
in Newport. Yeah, didn't make it.
I didn't make it. No, I
Oh, well.
opted for sleep, and then last night I actually ventured out to Northside and saw our good guest Chuck Cleaver
Chuck Cleaver.
with Wussy
Yeah, that's great.
and
man.
Culture Queer.
Yeah. You didn't play?
I didn't know. We played Wednesday night, and then we didn't. It's weird, and we mentioned earlier, what are the odds of a room of lowly musicians?
Like I said, it's going to be a
played.
quick show.
Yeah, especially Tim. You played like every 5 minutes, right?
I had two Goldie shows this week.
Yeah?
And my son tagged along, and he was my little roadie for a couple days.
Yeah,
so it was awesome.
Doing this.
Those are awesome. Do you guys know about what he does with the Goldie Show?
No.
Yeah, explain that, man.
Well, about 4 years ago, my mom was struggling with dementia and on her way out, and the activity directors were always saying, "Well, we hire people to, perform and do little shows and I'd bounce into a room and sing a Sinatra song or a Nat King Cole song and just watch their eyes light up.
Yeah.
They're just slumped over, and I'll start singing, and they're alive.
Yeah.
And it's the most bizarre thing. Music is
cool.
like the
Which
biggest medicine.
which nursing home is
It was
it?
at West Park where I
Okay.
started doing it, and then I did one, and my wife and a friend of hers, they were like, you need to do other shows. I have 35 different places that I perform at now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the Goldie Show kind of started there, and it took off, and then I played pubs and smaller clubs.
And
but
everybody still raises up like when you
it's
start
amazing. It really is. 'Cause
Some of the pubs, maybe not.
right.
Yeah,
Just head down.
I find doing the Goldie Show and the menus, and it's entertainment. People just need to be entertained. And it's like
Well, you know what, man? That's great. My mom had dementia, and I went through the same thing.
Yeah, we
Man,
talked about that.
That's wonderful, man. That's great. I think that's really cool.
But it's like you sing to a bunch of seniors during
Yeah.
the day.
My mom's at Evergreen, and Ricky Nye
Yeah.
comes up
Yeah.
and does his rec, and just everybody loves him. you
Yeah.
know, and
The cool thing about doing it, though, is like I teach preschool music.
Mm-hmm.
I did for the last 2 years, but now I'm just going in and doing it's called Mr. Goldie Show. So
Yeah.
it's a badass version of the
get on
Wiggles.
TV, man. Like,
But
get a little trolley going, like,
yeah,
whatever.
but you do. I'm teaching.
You get them dancing and
little
stuff.
kids in the morning,
Yeah,
seniors
man.
in the afternoon, a bunch of drunk people on the weekend.
That's
It's
funny you say that about, was your mom?
Yeah, well, they all walk the same. They walk all
Right.
funny. They might
Wait,
piss themselves. But it's
Which
like,
one?
Especially the bars.
The kids
The
or the
bars
old
are
people?
more where you're going to find the urination station. Yeah.
You were saying?
Oh, so you mentioned that your mom or whatever health was in decline, and Was it what you were talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. My grandmother. So I was brought up Pentecostal, like super old school, like hardcore Southern Pentecostal. So there were like no playing Go Fish in the house, for instance, things like that. But
Is that considered gambling or something?
yeah, I think that it was just the correlation between just cards and gambling. That's why I was not allowed. But my grandmother, God bless her, she's a fantastic human being, but she's just very, very old school and superstitious in a lot of ways like that. And I'm like a person of faith or whatever, so when I say superstitious, I'm not like denouncing like faith or anything, but she just takes it to a whole new level. But she also really loves music, and that's kind of where I got a lot of my like background, like with like just country and like gospel stuff. And she's like never obviously been out to like hear me play, and I don't think she's ever really heard any of my records or anything like that because it's secular music, But I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I'm gonna do like an acoustic, just like a gospel EP. I'm gonna pick some of like the old songs that she used to listen to when I was a kid, or some hymns and
That's
things like
really
that.
cool.
But I was trying to get it to her before Christmas this year, so I'm hopefully gonna start on that next week and just bang it out a night or whatever. But just you never know like how many more Christmases she's got or whatever.
Yeah,
So that
no,
was
right,
cool.
right.
It's just funny you say that. Yeah.
We can help here. I'd love to do that for you.
That'd be cool, man.
That'd be great.
I just it's just something that, and because I've brought like my guitar over and like like.
Can I have a copy of that and give it to my mom and say it's me?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There might be there might be a monopoly behind
Well,
it.
they'll probably listen to it. No.
Yeah, it's like, wait,
William,
we remember your lessons. You didn't play like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, that's cool though.
Now I feel like a really bad person. I didn't do anything nice.
I've never done. Yeah, I don't think. Like I was telling everybody earlier, I don't think any of my family really have seen me play.
Yeah.
And I never tell them though, so it's like it helps out. And
I'm always trying to make my dad to come out and see our shows, and so I was like, you know what? I get a lot of you at home. I'm good.
yeah,
Plenty. Yeah.
We flew back from California one time to play a show when I was living out in LA.
Uh-huh.
I booked a trip home just to see Dad, and then everybody jumped on like, well, we want to go see what Cincinnati's all about. And I was like, that's a lot of excitement to travel to the Midwest in the middle of winter, but that's cool too.
God.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
dedication.
it was awesome. So we got to come back and we played at the Southgate House, and it was probably like the most concentrated amount of people. I was like, I need to go away way more often
yeah.
so that all you people want to see me play when I
Right.
come home.
Get the reception.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
You know, it's
prodigal daughter, or whatever.
Well, that's 100% accurate.
like I've seen that work both ways. Like I felt like when my old band started traveling a lot, it was almost like a lot of people from here felt like I don't know, like you weren't giving them.
They missed you.
You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
feel like people like resented it almost because like you weren't around so much.
Yeah, when I lived in New York and was in a travel, it had been a while since I'd been back, and we played Sudsies, and we were thinking, oh man, all our friends. No, it's like what, sorry, whatever. And
It's really
that's when I
strange.
called my family, and they still didn't come. So,
But it also works the other way, because if you're playing 2-3 times a month,
oh yeah,
they
yeah.
always think, well,
I'll catch 'em next
they'll be down
time.
the street
Next
next
Yeah.
Next
week.
week or whatever. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So did your dad come to that gig?
He did.
Okay.
Yes, and I think everybody was more excited about seeing him than they were about seeing me. Because I'm always like, Jim Strickler, American legend. Like, he's my best friend, so I talk about him all the time. And I think that people think he's CGI, like I'm just making him up. I'm actually just a foundling. Noah Sugarman rescued me from a storm drain when I was a baby.
Yeah.
I'm Baby Yoda, actually.
Yeah, your baby.
Now we-
Where's your
I had to
little
get up-
flying, egg?
I left it at home today. This is all makeup. I had to get up very early to get the green out.
I know your family listens to you all the time, because
Yeah.
your whole family is your band.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, practically.
Not the whole band, but
My brother definitely.
Yeah,
is.
your brother, yeah.
So.
yeah. And you guys rehearse at your house, because I know,
Yeah,
because I've been
that's
there.
convenient. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Nice.
whatever. Yeah.
I'm glad
so
you said that
that's
because I didn't know which one I was talking to.
nice. Right. Oh, yeah, we did that. People come up, Jake, be like, yeah.
You owe me money, right?
So, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of family support, and we always value Dad's opinion because he's.
Does he come to all the
really
gigs?
honest.
Absolutely.
No, he doesn't come to all of them.
Is he like
he's
a-
been to 90% of them, and the ones.
So, like you said,
Yeah.
he knows when things aren't good. And
Oh
when
yeah,
they're not.
oh yeah, and he'll tell us, and we make note of it. We try to record as much.
Is he like-
if, minus the people with their cell phones, but
What was
take a feed
Brian
off the
Wilson's father's name? It was like something like that. Just
board. Yeah,
beat
but
it
it's
into
just-
him.
I just having that that true opinion that we can value out there.
Constructive
Yeah,
criticism.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have that. That's
Yes.
real friends tell you when you look like a dumbass.
Yeah,
Mine is always
seriously,
deconstructive
friends, the ones that are going to
criticism.
tell you when you suck are like that's the most valuable.
My
Sometimes,
brother will walk out. Like, we would get dressed up to go to shows, and he would just be like, nope, back to the bedroom. Like, I would have an outfit on. He was like, not today, Satan. Get back in there and put on
today.
The
something
potato
that makes
sack.
sense.
That's what you know.
Exactly. You are definitely
Cover-
over
you know,
30.
up to
Figure it
here.
out.
That's cool. So did
thanks,
you grow
Andy.
up like being an entertainer in your family? I know you did. So you must have.
Yeah, I started like my first gig was like at a swim club, and there was a band playing at an adult party, and
Adult
oddly enough-
party?
Yeah, well they
Can you specify? adult-
at the swim clubs they'd have like adult parties,
Right, right.
and
Slinging or-
they'd hire a band. It was a swingers club. The neighborhood was quite a riot.
Pool party.
The band that was playing, they were on break, you know, having some candy cigarettes. And I remember begging these guys. I'm like, let me sit in. I know all the songs you're playing.
How old were you?
I was probably 10 or 11.
Wow.
And I'm standing there in my Speedo still from the day, you know, hanging out at the pool.
Dripping wet on their electric instruments. And like, you know.
It was crazy because I'm like, I know all the songs you're playing. And it was like, they were kind of like a Hot Wax group. And they were playing like Elvis and Buddy Holly and all this 50s and 60s stuff. I had older siblings, and I was a big Elvis fan. And finally convinced them, and they let me sing like 3 songs back to back, and no one really. Finally, my dad's looking out in the audience, and I'm up there like killing it, you know.
Nice.
And all my friends are hanging on the fence watching me, you know. I mean, it was.
Do you have a picture of that?
I wish I did.
Oh man, that's too bad.
You come up with a stage name.
But oddly enough, some years later, I was playing a gig with the Menus in Blue Ash, and the band that was warming up for the Menus was the band that I sat in with.
Wow.
And it was Ooh La La and the Greasers.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah,
I remember. I've
talking
seen
to
them.
this
Yeah.
cat. They were breaking their stuff down, and I'm like, you ever playing a gig in Western Hills, you know, in Bridgetown area a bunch of years ago at a swim club? And the guy said, I said, it was Woodhaven Swim Club. He's like, oh, I remember the gig. Yeah, some kid got up and totally ripped up the stage, man.
He was awful. And then you shut up. It's like, I was just wondering, you know. It's
Like,
like,
dude, that was me. He's like, I said, yeah, thanks for warming us up. Hurry up. will you?"
You're like, you got him with a cigarette?
It's over that choke, man. I'm gonna get rolling. No, but
I saw them at Western Hills Racket Club, I think. It's like-
Muddy Creek, yeah.
yeah.
I know exactly.
It was really
Ooh la la.
surreal, like seeing the same name, and it was still the same cats up there playing. It was really
They were like
That's
the
wild,
local
that, I
Sean
obviously
on
didn't
up.
know that about you, but like it's talking to you and seeing you like in person, like it shines through so much in your personality. Like you're like a natural entertainer.
Oh, he is.
That's
why I asked him.
It's the glasses, too.
He's one of those people that's born with it.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure, absolutely.
My dad gave me. If I have 10% of what my dad gave me, man, he looked like James Garner, man.
Really? Wow.
Good looking dude. He'd walk into a room,
Rockford.
people had to talk to him.
Well,
He
that's the
was
thing,
just-
man. You walk in a room, it lights up. I mean,
Yes.
certain people are like that. So that's
Oh,
awesome.
thanks for saying. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think about this coffee?
So good.
Well, I just dipped my. Now it's better.
What is this, Juno?
Okay, I can tell you what William just dipped his. It's the brew is from Branch Hill Coffee. It's Italian roast espresso. It has a strong, smooth, robust blend. It tastes wonderful as an espresso and fantastic as a brewed coffee.
It is.
It is
This is
a
wonderful.
very
You're
good
right.
brewed
It's good
coffee.
without
Yeah.
all the fancy razzle dazzle too.
Yeah, man.
I'm kind of a wuss, and it's.
I could
delicious
actually
on
use
its own,
some.
so.
Can we have some more, Juno?
Yeah.
I'll take.
Do you have
one
any
too,
whipped
'cause
cream?
everyone
Yeah.
else is flying.
Can you make a
except
little-
for me?
Make a little leaf in the top of it.
Everybody's cooking.
Star Wars.
I'm cooking the other direction.
I'm sucking the strap off of the can.
And any candy cigarettes by chance?
Yeah. Go to Ooh La La on the Greasers.com.
Man.
You know what? They probably did have candy cigarettes.
You should just
Fucking
do
candies.
candy cigarettes.
And also today, I do have a little gift for you too.
Oh, really?
It's
That's
nothing much.
cool.
I just saw it. In
Is it a wishbone from the turkey?
No, sorry. I didn't think about that. Oh, little bit in my pocket.
I know what you're
but
doing there, Joe.
It made me think of you because you guys are.
Oh,
That's
right on.
There you go.
Pothead.
Thanks.
That's fantastic.
Do you have any more? I'll buy
And
one.
that's something
okay.
different
Yeah,
when I was in high school.
Yes.
Yes.
When I'm
thank
running
you so
low, I
much.
just milk it like a cow. You know,
Yes.
it's like,
I got
That's
this
awesome.
online.
thank you.
Thank you.
Fresh pots.
That's so cute.
That's awesome.
I should put this on like.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has picked their guitars, and we're getting ready to jam out. And we're going to be right back with Veronica.
Yes.
Till then.
On a cold November Sunday morning, musicians gather to drink coffee, talk guitars, and play music. Hold on.
Hey, feel free to talk and go crazy. And if you do something stupid, it won't end up on the show anyway, so don't worry about it.
Hell, it won't.
Don't believe me.
We've seen the show.
Well, you don't know what was left out.
That was the case.
They have no idea what was left out.
True.
You need to
Cutting
release the
room floor.
outtakes one day.
Man, there's some good ones.
5 coffees later.
It's not a mouth organ, so whoever said that was wrong.
A hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 1923.
Zane's Field. Zane's Field. Sorry. We're gonna need to drive to the right one. Because they are different.
Yeah, they are.
Maps.
It wasn't 4/4, was it?
Remind me of a Tom Waits.
Was it
like that A minor and everything.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what.
The A minor was.
A minors don't work with 6/8.
A minor always gives it that kind
I think that was 4, wasn't it?
It was 4.
of. I don't know.
It's just kind of like a slow.
Bass player.
Yeah.
It was the same except louder, sloppier.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How did you like the action on your?
It's pretty responsive.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's weighted.
Yeah.
It's weighted.
Is this the first time a melodica's ever appeared on?
It is. 100% Kona, by the way.
Didn't we have a guitar that was Kona?
Koa.
Koa. Okay.
Yeah.
Note to self, don't wear slippery pants.
But you look cool.
We're back on the show, and we got my good friend Veronica. We've known each other a long time.
We have known each other a long time. It's been too long since I've actually seen you in corporeal form. I'm very
Yeah.
excited to be here. I'm not sure how I got lucky enough to end up here, but
I think we.
We're almost
you're here because you're wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that 2 M's?
it's 1M, 1M, y'all, and everybody spells it with
2 R's?
There's 17 R's. We allegedly, legend has it, are related to the Grimm's fairy tale people.
Really?
But,
Oh,
so
cool.
my grandmother's maiden name actually is Grimm, so it's not like I just pulled that out of a hat. But
That's pretty neat.
We know
I
a
thought it
Mike
was
Grimm.
spookier to spell it with 1M, so you know. That's what I did. And no one gets it right, so the joke's on me. So it's like,
Yeah.
the way that started too is I was working at Hot Topic in Eastgate, and Kelly Thomas called me because I was on my first ever gig that I was going to be billed on, and it was one of her One More Girl on a Stage shows at the old Southgate House. And she was like, I for real need to know how you want to be billed on this poster right now because it's super late and you need to giddy up and make a choice. So I was like, I guess it'll be Grimm. So.
What would it have been otherwise?
Well, my real
Stage
name is Strickler, so, and I love that name, Dad. I'm not dodging it. But it just doesn't have that
Zing.
show busy ring
It's
to
like
it, you know.
Stickler.
Happy birthday, Mr. Mercury. So I went ahead and just chose a new identity. But yeah, the joke's on me because everyone misspells it. So
Well, we are so glad you're back in town.
thank you for having me back
After
in town.
coming back from Paradise out in LA.
It was pretty good. I feel like my timing is really good though, because unfortunately, like my heart hurts looking at all the news that comes out of California
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. 'cause
Yeah.
Literally everything is on fire, but that's. So I love you, everyone in LA, especially you, Summer. 'cause
Where'd you
you're
live in LA?
I lived in Long Beach.
Okay.
And I lived in the magical area that is sort of like if you took all the coolest parts of every city and rolled them up into one area, it was like 4th Street in Long Beach. Amazing food, an old art theater, music everywhere. I was literally like 4 blocks from the beach, so I would take Zero and we would go for our runs and our walks on the beach.
You still have your tan.
SPF 100, y'all. Going strong since 83. But back in my drinking days, it was a great situation because I could get a bottle of a little whiskey, put it in my little backpack, and wander down the street and go watch movies all day, and then wander back down the beach and just poetically stare at the water. The whiskey was really important back then. It really helped the lyricism. But now I have to work extra hard because I've been sober for almost 3 years.
Oh, really? Well,
Congrats.
So, yeah.
Nice knowing you.
I know, right? Bye. Bye. I'll be in bed by 10 every night. People don't know.
No wonder you're dressed like a school marm.
I know. Very sad. I burst into flame, actually, if I step outside in anything but this. So.
Well, you're here in the wonderful best part of Covington now.
I love it
The
here.
coolest part of Covington is right here in this room.
I love it.
yeah.
I also love that in the TV movie about serial killers, there are mountains right behind Rosie's.
Isn't
I
that
haven't
great?
found them
Did you
yet,
see that?
Yes.
But I plan to hike those someday if I can.
I don't know.
I was in the front room when they were filming that.
Were you really?
Yeah, and they were like coming down the street and stuff. It's
That's
pretty
so
cool.
cool.
They blocked the whole street off.
I have
I've never
no
seen
idea what
Main
you guys
Strauss
are talking
early.
about.
I used to see Main Strauss this early a lot because when I first started out, I used to do I went from never playing live in front of anyone to playing every dive bar in Northern Kentucky for 3 hours, like twice a week. And now I think it's Gypsies, but it used to be Fat Shannon's that I would play all the time. And I had a gig there back when Ryan Malott from 500 had his open mic at the 701 bar.
Wow, you're going way back.
I know, right? So we were the troubled 25-year-olds back then, getting into a lot was
Just
it was
like 2 years ago or something?
Exactly. I just
week.
turned 36, everyone, so I'm not going to lie to you. But it was cool because we would filter back and forth between the bars, and everybody had Strauss gigs back then. So
You set in a lot of Mud Pies gigs.
I love your band. I love your band.
It was always joy to have you play with us. So.
It's always a joy to be there.
I guess I always miss those.
Well, you missed too many.
I did that with Straw Boss a bit too. Like I would just scratch and climb my way onto more talented musicians' stages.
Yeah.
Until I got my own band. I was just like, pay attention to me, everybody.
Right.
I'm over here. So I had to prove myself some way, but
What are you blessing us with today?
being that it was just Thanksgiving and that I am in a very grateful mood, plus I'm also a perennial downer, I'm going to play a song called Thank You, which is so emotional.
Oh, can't wait.
But it does go out to you guys, especially for having me here, and y'all for listening, and you for playing. So
Oh, yeah, I forgot. During the break, these guys started a band.
yeah,
So Joe's going to...
we're good like that.
So they're going to take over somebody's stage soon.
I do want to say too that I'm playing on the 22nd with 500 Miles to Memphis at
But-
Fretboard Brewery.
This will probably be aired.
Make sure you make it there.
Yeah, so please be there. There's going to be like toy drive and lots of sexy people, and
Sexy people and toy drive.
I mean, they go
Sounds like
hand in
another
hand.
adult party.
It really
It
does.
is.
See you on the
Let's
fence.
to the swim club.
Let's bring Ooh La La back.
I'll have all the candy cigarettes. I walk tonight and the dream didn't end, 'cause I got
Frankie would say, what a set of pipes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
You
Wonderful.
have this like
so
it's
good.
like right on the verge of like a natural breakup.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It sounds like you're singing through a microphone. Like,
She sang that to me.
That was really
I don't know if I'm
Thank
articulating
you.
it properly.
No.
It's like
So
you can
good.
Feel that like
That's the
shake in
right
there.
word.
It's good,
Articulate.
yeah.
It's really, yeah.
That's what I love about
It's
her.
like there's a
She's
preamble.
not
Yes,
shy.
yeah, yeah.
She
Really
every
yes,
time
yes,
she comes
exactly.
out there, she gives it all, man.
Thank you. That's
Yes,
Yeah.
natural.
the only way I know to do it is just
Yeah.
like go hard or go home. Like I'm always on the verge of like a total and complete emotional breakdown when I'm on stage.
That's great. That's the best way to be. Give it all.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was killer.
And I'm glad you picked that song. I know you were debating on maybe some other ones, but
I was. There's
we were-
another one called Wait on Love that I was excited to, but this felt right.
yeah, when we were
Felt
checking out
great.
guitars, she was playing others, and I think you picked the perfect one.
And your dad picked out the right outfit, too.
Thank you. Well, you know, Wednesday Adams, my brother Pugsley, we're hosting the show today. So.
Now everybody's going to call me Pugsley.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry. Welcome, America. Yay.
So those two guitars sounded great together, I thought.
yeah.
It's an
Oh, it's
odd
so
couple, but it was
beautiful.
good, yeah.
I can't believe you let me touch this thing at all. Like, this is so beautiful. It looks like actual fire kissed this guitar because we were saying, like, somebody must have had, like, a really cool ring because there's this gorgeous, like, ring of fire burn away thing happening right here.
I think they just really like the G chord. Or
Yeah.
something.
yeah. Really nice thumb ring.
It was
Right.
secretly me just playing this guitar over and over.
Why did you pick the J200?
I picked this because as we were talking about, I grew up listening to lots of female country artists that played huge jumbo guitars, and so I felt
Yeah,
immediately that.
it's just really short.
I'm tiny and I like to hide behind a guitar, but Emmylou Harris is one of my all-time idols,
Yeah.
and so I grew up watching her play these ginormous guitars, and the sound, I don't know, there's something about Gibsons too, that like a good Gibson acoustic, I just feel has that buttery, jangly, bright, soulful thing that balances my weird, dusky, obnoxious
It sounded
caterwauling
great.
really well.
It sounded so good, nice and full.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Emmylou actually bought two J200s from me.
still my heart.
Yeah.
Just no matter what I do in my whole life or how many songs I write, I will never be as good as Emmylou Harris.
She got a blonde, I can't remember the year, I think it was like a 52 or 54 blonde J200 from me.
If I could
Years
just-
ago, and then she bought another one at a guitar show in Nashville.
I just can't even imagine. I would turn instantly into the stupidest person alive if I ever met her. Like, I would like to. I met some famous people in LA, but no one would turn me to jelly like her or Linda Ronstadt. Like, those would be
Yeah.
the two.
Remember when Hank Jr. came into your store and I didn't recognize him?
Oh, yeah, that is hilarious.
My dad used to drive. So his friend from Nashville is named Corky Howard, and his mama, Jan Howard, sang "Mama Sang Tenor" on "Will the Circle Be Unbroken." She's an amazing singer. And when he lived in Nashville, he drove her car around Canada when she was on tour with Hank Williams Jr.
Wow.
So he always got a real kick out of it because they thought that he was like her little boy toy. So they would put on this whole
that's
like
funny.
mini play all the time about it. But yes.
I was at a Denny's in like Oregon, and some guy comes up. He's like, "You're him, aren't you?" And I'm like, and he's like, "You're Hank Jr." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I saw the tour bus go by." You're Hank. And then I got Michael Anthony from Van Halen.
So did you tell him you were?
Nah,
No, my
I would
I could have lived
instantly
it
been
up,
like,
man.
Yep,
You know,
that's me. That is me.
Bose?
The time he didn't recognize him, the third, Hank
Yeah.
Third was in the store. We were doing a guitar deal or something, and they weren't really talking to each other. And his dad was just kind of wandering around, and he walked in the room.
Well, who's this guy, like tall guy, where he like had an American flag shirt. I'm like, look at this guy,
Well, he's like dressing up like his dad.
Yeah, and it's like, goes up in the acoustic room and I pick up a guild. He's like, "Oh, them guilds are really nice." I'm like, yeah, whatever, And he walks out and I'm like, wait a second, man, that was
That's like his thing, and that, like it's Hank 3's thing is those guilds.
Now,
Hank III bought actually this really, really cool, really rare one-off 175 for me that was black.
Really?
Like this guitar.
Yeah.
Hank
Which came
III
out of
does
Louisville.
one of my songs.
And it ended up on the front of Vintage Guitar Magazine.
No way.
Yeah, it was like one-off guitar. It was like a special order thing.
That's pretty cool.
But his dad, they weren't really hanging out together, so William just thought it was like a stalker dressed up like his dad.
Cowboy.
He whispers over to me like, "Look at this guy. Look at this."
It's like you and Peter Frampton. So that's
Yeah. Peter came to the store. I had no idea who he was. And I had one of his signature guitars on the wall. And this is right when he first started getting famous again.
Yeah.
So, Peter Frampton to me is this long-haired dude,
Right.
from Frampton Comes Alive.
sure.
He had short hair, and he came in the store, and there was a
Smelling of something.
yeah, well, there was one of his
Candy
custom shop Les Pauls on the wall, and he's like talking about it, and I'm like, he's saying, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, "It's okay, it's all right."
It's not really like his.
It's not really like Frampton's guitar. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, the rings are cream, and his guitar is a '50s guitar, so it would have been." He goes, "Yeah, but Peter changed the parts on that." I go, "I think you're wrong about that." So it was cool. He never told me, and this went on for like 20 minutes, and then he left. We were talking like blue, about British blues and all this kind of stuff, and he left, and 2 weeks later, the 20th Century Guitar magazine came in, and he was on the cover, and I was like, "Oh God, that's who he was."
Perfect.
Well, somebody
Yeah.
said like he lost that guitar in like a plane crash or something.
Yeah, he told me the whole story.
And like some guy dove down and rescued it eventually. And like,
Well, he came back in the store later, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry I made an ass on myself." He said, "Oh no, I kind of enjoyed it, Yeah, so
He said that guitar still isn't right.
I feel like he would have to respect you more for saying what
Yeah.
you actually
Yeah,
thought about the guitar than anything.
Well, this guy knows what he's talking about.
anyway, you sounded wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
so did you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And what that guitar is, that is a 1963 J200.
J200 is a classic. It's like the Les
Yeah.
Paul of acoustics.
Oh my God.
And Rob Fedder's on their very first show, the very first artist we ever had a blonde 63 J200. And that one is Sunburst. Is very, exactly the same guitar. I always change the bridges on those guitars because they have what's called tunematic bridges. And it's just not a good setup for acoustic. So we make inserts and set them in there, but you can always put them back.
That's so cool.
And yeah, it's a great guitar. It's all original.
I think this
It's
would
not a
look really good
gorgeous.
on it.
Pothead. Yeah.
Put it on there.
Put that on there.
This is way too classy for me. My ex bandmates would always say that I was like the poster child for gear insurance because like you can't control me on stage. Like I won't mean to, but I'll
Yeah.
catch the spirit and just like pedals are flying and guitars are upside down and it's falling back. I once unplugged
Oh, I
David
know.
Rhodes Band's entire setup as I was trying to walk off stage from singing one song with 500. He was like, "Great job." I'm never going to be invited on stage with y'all again. Smooth move, X-Lax.
I was always had like the set list under my foot, the
Yeah.
tape or something like that.
Is that why you have that thing on?
That happened to
It was a
Get
big
Stuff.
gig.
Yeah.
Set list holder.
My
So
friend
anyway,
Aaron
we
was
didn't
like,
talk
the
about your
entire
foot.
other
What's the
night.
deal with your foot there, William?
Well, it's like one of those things. I was running from some groupies, and I fell, and like they continued on. Like there's some kid playing a Bogarts and walking in front of me, so they just
They thought you were Hank Jr.
Michael Anthony actually.
Pugsley.
Yeah, right. Yep, it starts.
I used to have a bad habit of like inviting people like on stage at the end of the set. Like you just get a million people up there.
Yeah.
It's just chaos. And like the more you do that and you damage shit, the more. Excuse me.
That's all right.
The more you do that and you damage things, you realize that people don't realize that there are things on the floor. Like like
Right.
pedal
Step
boards
right
and
onto
like
the
things
board.
like that, wireless, whatever it is, and like just beer and like people stepping on stuff and ripping cables out of things, and I'm like, okay, we probably shouldn't do that.
Used to do that too,
Reevaluate,
and
yeah.
like somebody would be singing into like just a mic cable without the mic on it.
Oh yeah.
That would for sure be me.
That happened earlier today.
That'll happen to me at my next gig, I promise you.
So anyway, Joe, what did you think about that guitar, man?
Well, it's fantastic. Little parlor guitar. Feels
Yeah.
good. Small for me. I'm a big guy. I like big guitars, but it's fantastic.
I
That's
do
a
feel like
really
we have
rare-
a sight
it's very
gag going on
warm.
right now.
Very warm. Yeah.
You hid the sheet music on the floor. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty
right
good. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you played that because that was the guitar that no one picked. I always bring an extra one.
Oh.
And that is a 1927 028K. And K stands for Koa wood.
Cool. Yeah.
Wow,
That's what
yeah.
I was gonna guess.
And on the last show, we had an 018K, and that's the fancier version of that.
And we had a coffee that began with a K.
No, we had a
Koa
Kona.
or Koona or something like that. And the guy
Kona.
we had a guitar that was like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and interesting about let me show
love the
this for a
smell.
second. Interesting about this guitar is the guy I got it from actually found it in the garbage. Wow. Yeah.
I think
Somebody-
did you post about that?
I did yesterday.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's super figured.
Yeah.
The wood is
Oh,
like
yeah.
super figured. But I'm glad you picked it so we could show it off. The difference between an 18 and a 28 is it has snowflake inlays, and it has a pyramid bridge, and it has what they call herringbone, which 28s have herringbone.
Really?
Up until 47, and then they stopped doing that. So
Now,
yeah,
I never see, is a herring a bird and it's the bone of it or something like that? Or
you know what? You always have interesting questions.
well, I mean, you know,
I have no
That's
idea.
what I assumed. That's what I assumed. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
the bone of a
It
herring.
would make sense, especially back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they could use
They're
plastic.
probably in.
Right.
I know that they
lot
got
of
this stuff
supply.
from Europe. They would
Yeah, right.
import this stuff from Europe, this herringbone inlay, I think. But yeah, that's cool. I'm glad we got to share it.
Sounded great.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I think it's more grateful to be played because it was found in the trash.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's a rescue
Gave it a
guitar.
whole new
That's
life. Yeah.
We did a ton of work to it. I mean, it was in bad shape, but you know, we had to reset the neck and reset the bridge and repair some.
Now,
few
was it the
little cracks.
recycle bin? You know, just this guitar needs to come back.
This guitar was originally a Hawaiian guitar, so it had a tall nut. So we hit, and there was no frets, so we had to fret it too. That's called a converted.
Okay. It was,
See,
Yeah.
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
So you know, it had tons of work, but it turned out great. I think I just got it yesterday back. So
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Back on the show, we're having a great time today with these guys.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I gotta say, you should be like Centered Square in Hollywood.
Like Paul Lynde?
Yeah, yeah. You know.
Oh, same.
I'll block, you know. With it. I hope that wasn't an insult.
No, not at all.
Like Pugsley is.
Like Pugsley. It was a Pugsley block. You know, that name's definitely going to stand.
I'm so sorry. I've ruined your whole life.
You know, I'd say Wendy, but that's not an
mean-
insult, you know.
No.
Kind of into that whole bleak thing. So it works to my favor.
So Tim has picked a fabulous 1976 Dove.
Lovely, isn't it? But is it real?
It's probably the newest guitar that we've ever had on the show.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kicking around. I wasn't sure if I wanted to play a Christmas song that I wrote or something off of the album I released in 18 called Goldie.
Yes.
And there's like 3 children's songs on there because I was talking about teaching children's music. So I built some songs about that curriculum because I married
The wheels on the train go round.
Yeah, no, actually, the wheels on the bus don't go round and round anymore at all. They know who Led Zeppelin is, man. I'm not a mess around. But the song I'm gonna play is when I started writing the stuff for this record, I thought the easiest way to write a song would be to write a song about myself because that's the person that I know the best. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of a complicated guy, but I'm very simple. But this is a song called Original. And it's fun. If you look up my file, I'm a man with style. I've never been one to blend in. I'm wearing black with brown when I'm hitting the town, and my shoes are from the bargain bin. I drive a 4-door wagon, I'm not bragging, it's covered with wood on both sides. It's got side pipe extenders, a CB antenna, I must say it's one hell of a ride. I'm an original, a one of a kind, they broke the mold when they made me. I'm not like anyone else, I'm proud of myself, there's no one else that I'd rather be. I'm an original, I'm an original. With my hair piled high, 2
eyes so wide, I've always got a wink and a smile. I'm not afraid to talk, I kinda skip when I walk, just as happy as a little child. It's always ladies first when I open the door, it's just what my father taught me. You got to give respect to the opposite sex, that's just the way it always should be. I'm an original, a one of a kind, they broke the mold when they made me. I'm not like anyone else, I'm proud of myself, there's no one else that I'd rather be. I'm an original, I'm an original. I never take things for granted, I always do the next right thing. Life's too short to be selfish, so what's the point in being mean? I'm an original, I'm an original. Well, I've never been shy, I'm always first to say hi. It's nice to meet you, won't you be my friend? Let me sing you a song, we can all sing along. We'll share a picture, then we'll both hit send. Well, my wife and my kids are my world, you can see nothing's more to me, that's something I've learned. If I could give you advice, I'd always tell you be nice. What you give is what you get in return. I'm an original, a one of a kind, they broke the mold when they made me. I'm not like anyone else, I'm proud of myself, there's no one else that I'd rather be. I'm an original, a one of a kind, they broke the mold when they made me. I'm not like anyone else, I'm proud of myself, there's no one else that I'd rather be. I'm an original, I'm an original, I'm an original, I'm an original, I'm an original.
Nice, man. Cool. Great lyrics.
Great, man.
Excellent.
Wonderful choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
Was that an original?
Yeah.
So is that on the recent album?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
It's like one of the first. I had a few songs that I had written a bunch of years ago that I kind of revamped.
Uh-huh.
But that was when it just one of the songs when you write it and it just
Flows.
comes right out of your head, and it
Because it's about you.
it wrote itself. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That's
you have a good
great, man.
source. You knew where to find the source.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like Iggy Pop did a record on positivity.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it
It's like,
what do
wasn't
you think of-
cheesy, but
yeah.
it's so positive.
It's weird.
I
Like
can
all
never do that.
all the songs that I wrote for that album were really good messages. And you talked, Veronica, about sobriety, and I got sober in 15. And all the songs that I wrote were just really, just not spiritual, but just really good messages.
Yeah.
Because there's so much negativity and
It
crap.
is.
And a lot of the songs that I write, man, I'll write a Christian-based song, and then I'll turn around and write a song about a guy that just stole a car. You know,
Yeah.
so you never know what you're gonna write.
Yeah.
But when they pour out of your head like that, those are always the best ones. Because if you write something, then you go back to it, it's never the same feel that you have.
It's like a
Yeah,
gift,
like-
and it's like given to you. And sometimes
my
if you don't
God.
capture it, it's gone.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me play that.
That was
Oh, it's wonderful.
nice.
And let me play this.
Yeah, the guitar
Yeah.
sounded great
This
with
is
it.
really
You know,
cool.
I was thinking of you, and I was thinking, what is a good, you know, I knew you probably wouldn't be into like an old beat up guitar. It's not your style. So I picked that guitar because I thought you would appreciate the way it looked and sounded. And Elvis played a very similar guitar. So
My very first concert was Elvis.
you're like
Presley.
Elvis to me, Tim.
My first oh god.
Well, it's like, you know, your dynamics on it was, you know, just everything you was able to hear it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
And no
really-
pick. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you always do that?
Not typically.
You
but
could have
I
asked me for
I
a
just-
pick.
I just felt it. I can't really afford them.
They're like a quarter.
I would have let you borrow a pick.
Look at the way I'm dressed. I'm such a rich man.
Seriously, so you just, did you not think about, you didn't have
I
a pick? It just, that's
when,
cool.
when I did it on the album, it was like,
Okay. So it's sort of part of the song steal.
And then just kind of vamped into
Barbershop.
that.
Yeah, man.
But seeing Elvis for the first time did change my life. That was the very first concert I ever went to.
Oh, I never saw Elvis in person.
Yeah, and he died like a month later. It was in '77.
Did you see him at Coliseum?
At the Coliseum.
Yeah, my cousin had tickets, who's like 6 years younger than me. And at the time, you know, I was maybe, what year was it, 77? I was like
77.
young, you know, but he was 6 years younger, but he had tickets. So he called me up like, oh, you want to go? I'm like, nah, you know, Elvis, yeah, whatever. And then he died. Like, Indianapolis, like, was his last show, I think.
I told my dad on the way home, and then what I wanted to be for the rest of
same
my
with
life.
Prince. He was like into Prince. And, like, Prince did that red, white, and purple thing at Bogart's, kicking off that tour.
Same guy asked you to go?
Yeah, I got tickets. You want to go? Nah, you know.
So if he calls and asks to go see a band, you know that guy's going.
I got tickets like Hank Jr. Nah.
And then you were a stunt double.
Yes. What was that like? Just first off, seeing Elvis, and how old were you?
I was probably about 12 or 13.
Yeah. Seeing Elvis Presley, something like that then at the time too, where he was it, and just that was larger than life.
He was too it.
He was larger than life.
Right.
Then, 'cause, I mean, like literally, my mom said, "Get ready, Dad's taking you somewhere." My dad won tickets on WSAI from probably Jim Scott or something.
Yeah,
the Jim Scott show.
And and we were in a box seat, you know, had a parking pass and everything, and just looking down there. Yeah.
So you had just done your first swim gig.
Yeah.
And then you saw Elvis.
Coming off,
coming off the swim tour.
Did you like try to get on the, get up there and like, hey, I know you're something. Let me get up there.
Yeah, he was smoking candy cigarettes. Yeah.
Did you dress like him? Did you have like the open vest, white suit, and the whole
I
bit?
did not. It was a speedo.
Well, there was an Elvis impersonator who used to shop at Mike's Music.
Yes, there was,
And
actually.
like, he had a, he obviously wore a wig, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
he would
nice
come
guy.
in. Yeah, nice dude.
guy.
Yeah, probably many of them actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, oddly enough, this is a '76, and he died in '77.
Yeah, and he had a Black Dove too.
Yeah.
And it's a cool guitar. I think it's wonderful.
I just can't believe you're giving this to me for Christmas. what a guy!
I'll give you the pick. How about that?
Free coffee, no pick, and a brand new guitar from 1976.
Really not much to say about the guitar. Black is semi-rare, not as rare as most people think. Early on, in the 60s, it would be extremely rare, but by the time that guitar came around in the middle 70s, they did a lot more black ones. And I actually kind of sort of collect custom-colored Gibson stuff. And you see a fair amount of Black Doves, but not that many.
Do you have like the custom color or any other thing? Like
Mainly what I collect is Poem Blue guitars.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a bunch of
You got
those.
a nice collection.
That's actually a guitar that's for sale in the store. So, yeah.
How
If you
long,
like
how
it-
long will I have of indentured servitude to work on?
Well, there's lots of amps that need carried up the steps
Well, it's
that
like,
Elton
yeah.
want to
I'm
carry
good
up.
for that.
At least they're not like
The
Mini
bass
Pearl
ones.
and have the tag hanging from it. Right.
Well, we loved it, Tim. What do you got
Thank
coming
you.
up show-wise?
I got my Christmas show on December 11th with Curly and the Cue Balls. That's another band that put together about 21 years ago. But that's all like the American Songbook of Christmas music. So it's
that's
Andy
awesome.
Williams, Sinatra, Nat Cole.
Now
The
you can't
menus-
play "Baby It's Cold Outside" anymore. Can you?
No.
What if we did it together and switched the roles?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to wear your Menus outfit, too.
No, this is a tuxedo gig, man.
No, I mean, if you guys
Yeah.
switch roles.
Oh yeah. I had
Wear
several-
her outfit and then.
I think this would be very fetching on you.
I had that outfit. I do.
Dodged a bullet.
In a menu show on a typical night, I'll do 15 wardrobe changes.
Yeah.
Full makeup.
Yeah.
Still kicking about 8.5 feet off the ceiling.
That's amazing.
Still riding my handstand through the crowd on.
Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 76. Same year this was. Now I'm 55.
Wow, that's awesome.
55.
Damn, younger than me.
And what was the first year you were in the Menus?
The menus have been.
Were you like the
yeah,
very
those-
original singer?
Yeah.
I mean,
36
menus have been-
years been doing the menus, and we've done over 5,000 live performances with that band.
Well, Rerun was a big influence on me. He's like
Reruns.
probably one of the first people ever taught me how to play bass.
From
the menus.
my mama.
Well,
What's happening? But
yeah, what's happening?
Yeah.
He was the original bass player, right?
Yep. Not the original.
Yeah.
He's He wasn't the original. He came on.
But he was with you guys forever.
He was with us for I think 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
And
So-
he passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah,
We
that's
miss him dearly.
Yeah, that's how far back I go with you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Our 36 years in the same band is very much unheard of.
Yeah, I've got
a bunch of times at
23,
Shipley's.
Yeah.
24 maybe, something like that.
21 with one band, 36 with another, come out about 37. But around this time of year, we do a lot of corporate gigs, a lot of casino gigs lately, which is cool.
Yeah.
In a way, but
Nice buffets.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, you know, a little
That's,
game.
that's why he can kick 8
endless
feet as he
shrimp,
doesn't do
you
the
know.
buffets.
Yeah. But yeah, just blessed, man, to be it's a crazy industry, you know. You're throwing a lot of things, but you take the good and leave the bad, you know.
Well, we all love you.
I
We
get
appreciate
that.
you coming.
Thanks a lot for having me, man.
Yeah, it's a great
means the
time.
world. When you asked me to be on this, I'm like, I really don't know much about coffee or guitars.
Yeah.
But
Learning experience.
It really is, yeah.
Earn while you learn.
I learned,
Well, it's about a good time. You
I
know what
learned
mean?
coffee about. I did a Speedway commercial a few years back.
Cool.
My coffee, just the way I like it, but I bought a coffee at Duber's Automotive on the way there. Wasn't really doing much for me.
Shame the Quick brothers aren't around.
Yeah.
That-
And to me, this is just like a deco masterpiece, you know, made in the 30s, just the top of the line of handcrafted guitars. So I talked Elliot out of it. And then years passed. I kept the guitar. It is candy apple red with a matching headstock. And nobody really knows if they just like did a batch of these or if people ordered them. If you're an Eric Clapton fan, you probably saw him play a Summers Telly like this with a Stratocaster neck on it. I got about halfway home and he called me and said, I'm going to sell it to you. So I drove all the way back to Philly after a long week of guitar show. I collect Pelham Blue guitars, and this is one of the rare models. You see Pelham Blue in a lot of guitars. Not really a lot, but more often in SGs and things like that. You never see a 345. This is a 59 Les Paul. It used to belong to Brad Whitford. And it is very figured, which is what makes them the most valuable. This guitar is nicknamed Snake.
Back on the show with Taylor.
Enough
Awesome.
said.
Awesome guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great, man.
Yeah.
That it? That it?
Yeah, just be you, man. That's all we need you to do.
Done.
Yeah.
I need that job.
It's a tough game.
So we were just discussing what we were going to wear that we did not wear. And Tim said he was going to wear, what was it?
A Target bag.
A Target bag.
Standard outfit. I wear.
Damn.
It's not too late.
Yeah, my normal job. Yeah.
You should have done the cape.
And you were thinking
I know.
like
I
the most
fully
Elton John
I
thing.
thought about
The most
last night
Elton
before I
John
went to
thing I could
sleep,
do.
and I woke up and was late per usual, and I was like, I don't have time to get the cape.
Man, there's always time for capes.
Well, good to know. Next
Yeah.
time, I promise I will
Liberace.
don the cape.
Yeah.
I had a zombie bride dress that I wore at Molly Malone's on stage with Switchblade Syndicate at one point. And I was so emo back then, I drew on where my heart had been cut out.
Yes.
in eyeliner.
Yes.
Nice.
I thought about a poncho, but I couldn't find it.
A real poncho or a Sears poncho?
Oh,
I
really?
was gonna bring an umbrella.
You know, like Clint
But
Eastwood.
I'd be called Penguin then, so it's like instead of Pugsley.
Totally rock.
I can't win.
Yeah, I'll do the poncho some other time, man.
Yes.
For sure. I got like the Clint
ponchos
Eastwood
always.
poncho.
Yeah, the day is young. You can pull the poncho out anytime, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to
absolutely.
send you a picture of me in a poncho later for sure.
It's actually perfect poncho weather.
It really is.
It is, man.
It's like-
maybe we'll do an all poncho show.
Yeah.
You want to hear like for Halloween, like when I was 6 years old, I dressed up like the Frito Bandito. I know it's a little,
No, I
nowadays.
see that right away.
But like I had like a big sombrero on and stuff like that. And my father drove me to my grandparents' neighborhood, and got pictures, all that stuff. Anyway, on the way home, we got pulled over by a cop, and and like my dad rolls the window down and he's like, "Oh, what I do?" And the cop comes up and he looks in and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can go." He's like, "Well, why'd you pull us over?" He's like, "Well, there was a robbery down the street and involved a Mexican."
Oh, get out.
And I'm like 6 years old. Like, wow, that was like, I remember that. So
Wow.
cut.
That's crazy.
Should have said cut before.
I'm like really police prone. Like I get pulled over a lot, and I don't have a lot of tickets. Like I just get pulled over a lot, and a lot of it's for like crazy stuff. Like one time, me and BJ actually, it was me and my now wife BJ and somebody else were in my car. I was taking her down to her dad's shop to drop her off, and I think me and BJ might have been going down for a session with Elton, and we were coming through the village of Batavia. And we got pulled over right there on Main Street in this old like empty parking lot, and we got surrounded. I mean, it wasn't like one local cop; it was like 4 cops. They
This
all
guy looks
surrounded.
shady. Bring him on.
It was crazy, and I wasn't like at the time. I had like a relatively nice truck, and which usually I'm not driving a nice vehicle. And we got stopped, and apparently a woman had been escaped from the jail down there in Claremont County, and I guess the description matched my vehicle and my now wife. It was crazy. They thought we were like holding or like
Wow.
evading.
I got a similar story.
It was insane. It was crazy.
I was in Oklahoma driving, a band van, and I was getting onto the expressway, and this cop comes up right behind me, lights on and all that, and I pull over, and he just sits in his car, and like next thing, there's like 10 cop cars around, and I'm like, oh man, what the heck? And like it was like a week and a half after the Oklahoma bombing. And it was a white van, and they were looking for a second bomber, they thought, who had a baseball cap on, and I had a baseball cap on. And like, they went through the van and all that stuff, and like, we gave them records, and they were like all laughing about it.
Can we take some pictures?
Yeah, right.
That's nuts.
That was weird though.
Yeah.
And they thought I was Hank Jr. also.
I think the description of a lot of people.
You're a chameleon.
You're like one of those
Not
guys,
really,
like your
it's just
career is like the lineups, like the suspect lineups. You're just a career suspect.
Yeah, there you go.
You're number 3.
Yeah, it's 100%.
The control room.
Yeah.
Number 3, step forward.
That could be like the album covers too. Every time.
Step forward and say, "Give me a quarter."
That's awesome.
So
Anyway.
what's the tune you're gonna play us, brother?
Man, yeah.
You don't know?
So, well, I never. This sounds really cliche. I don't know until I play the guitar.
No, it doesn't.
You know
I
what I
like
mean? I
that.
wasn't sure.
Inspired, yeah.
So I had a couple things in mind, and I had a suspicion that there might be a Flying V on set.
Yes.
Based on a conversation we had prior.
Yeah.
So we're working on an EP now, and this is a new song. We've not recorded it yet, but we played it a couple times live. It's called Cold Sweat.
Do you own a Flying V though?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Is that your, like,
the significance. It is. It was my first real guitar. I've had it since I was 14, so about 16 years now, and still can't play it well, but it is my favorite guitar.
Is it spelled just like Cold Sweat, like the James Brown song, or what?
Yes, just like it.
Okay. You guys
Is there,
change the
like-
spelling or something.
like-
No, I played guitar in a James Brown tribute.
Are you serious?
I did.
Oh,
Did you
wow.
get fined
I
if
played,
you messed up?
Elton was just as shocked as I was when I told him about it. I played
I
two
can
gigs.
see that. I mean,
It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. The guy, he calls himself Young James Brown, and he apparently has some sort of tie to James Brown himself. But he's like fantastic. Like he does the spins and the flips and all this crazy stuff. And we had a horn section and everything. It was great. But we played 2 shows. One was at Ollie's Skate Park, and the other one was at Mike's Bike Park in Dayton.
Okay.
It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But it was definitely interesting, very different environment for me. But
Bootsy
not
did
the
some
skate
sort
park,
of
but-
show, like maybe 5-10 years ago. It was some sort of James Brown.
I
anniversary.
think they know each other. It was probably the
and
same
I think
guy.
he was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
I was
wouldn't
lucky
surprise
enough
me.
to sit with James' family, so
Really?
it was pretty cool.
That's pretty
yeah.
cool. That is way cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude's talented.
So anyway, so this Cold Sweat fits the Flying V.
Yeah,
I'd say.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anything doesn't fit the Flying V, but
Yeah.
you know,
I love
this
these.
thing is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, that's a
Absolutely love it.
67.
Yeah.
It's a 1967.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You know, I wish I had a 50s one to bring in, but I've never owned a 50s Flying V.
Really?
I've had many opportunities to buy one, and I always like Les Paul, so I'm like a burst guy. So, when you're talking about that kind of money, I just couldn't see doing it on a V, but I really would love to.
That
have it.
surprised me because I always thought you were kind of like a V enthusiast.
So like
Well, I am.
60s
Yeah.
ones. Yeah. What does a 50s V go for nowadays?
A screwed up one's going to be 250 to 300 grand, and then probably 4 or 5 ish for.
And like Hughes Music, I mean,
That's shut up.
he got a couple like.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were like sold for like 350 to 5 back then or something like that.
Oh, like. Yeah, probably or less.
That's
They
where-
sat in Hughes Music for years. That's where Lonnie got his.
Yeah,
guitar.
I was gonna say,
Really?
Lonnie.
Hughes
Yeah.
Music in Norwood.
That's
Those guitars didn't sell, so back then
That,
nobody.
yeah, that's why I've always read that. The funny thing about the Flying V and that particular Flying V and the Lonnie Mac thing. So I was kind of between a couple of guitars when I like had the opportunity to get like a nice guitar, and Billy Corgan's other band was Zwan. Does anybody remember Zwan?
I do remember Zwan.
So Zwan came out and they had that Honestly single, and in that video he was playing a Lonnie Mac Flying V with the big V.
bar.
Yeah.
And so I saw that, and that was the moment where I was like, that's the guitar that I want, like 100%. And then it turns out it was Lonnie Mac Flying V, which he sold recently on Reverb.
Yeah, well, before Lonnie passed, he sold his first. Well, he had 10, but he sold his first 7 guitars, and we consigned them for him.
Right.
Oh wow.
And so I got to deal with Lonnie, and he was a character, man. I tell
That's
you
what I
what.
hear.
He did not mess around. He was a serious guy.
Drummer in my first band, his father was a motorcycle dude, and like they ride bikes together up and down Route 50
Yeah.
and stuff like
And
that.
since I became friends with Holly, and at the last Lonnie Mac Fest,
his daughter?
Yeah, his daughter. She brought his guitar.
Oh, wow.
7 is what they call it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
I've
got
never
to
seen
like
that.
give a little speech about it and talk about it and stuff. It was super cool.
But one like
That is
Frampton,
cool,
you
man.
really knew what you were talking about.
yeah, actually, a little bit.
All right.
So,
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
but anyway, that's a 67. They made 145 or 6
No kidding.
67 Flying V's.
That's crazy, man.
Most of them are cherry or sunburst. There's a few custom colored ones. I actually have a Pelham blue one.
Oh
Yes.
god.
Yeah,
I'd kill for
and
that.
they made what they call sparkle burgundy, which is like a candy apple red
Right.
color.
That's cool.
Which is his was a
Lonnie's 50s one.
yeah, that was a cherry, wasn't it?
Well, he refinished it.
Oh, okay. All right.
And what's ironic is the original Explorer bass, there's only one, was also sold in town, I think from Dodge Music. And that bass player played in Lonnie's band, and they both refinished him like red or purple.
Oh, wow.
So if you look,
Pre ZZ Top, I guess.
if you look back at the Lonnie posters, there's pictures of him in front of like an old 50s tour bus with the guy with the only Explorer bass.
Wow.
And they're both like red. It's super cool.
You got to say Ant Whistle on that at one point, right?
Yeah, John ended up with that, and it sold at the Entwistle auction, and then my friend actually has it now.
Wow.
You have just forgotten more about music than I will ever know. Like,
I've forgotten a lot. Probably not more than you would know, but I have definitely forgotten more.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So anyway, you said I'm like a V fan. I am. I have a pretty large V collection.
Yeah, I've seen like just coming in your store over the
Yeah.
years. Like I've always, like upstairs.
Probably
I've
have
seen some
40
stuff.
custom colored ones, but all of mine are from 67 to 81 in that 70s, 60s
yeah.
period.
I got a really nice Epiphone if you want to buy that.
I like the
Great
ones
Daisy
with the
Rock
pick
for
guards
you.
on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like. So
Hello
was it like the
Kitty.
81, 83 that didn't have the pick guard? It was like they were like solid.
Yeah,
ones?
they started. That's a strange
I
time
had an
period.
81 and it had a
'Cause
pickup.
you've had one in the front room of the
Yeah.
Cincinnati shop, that blue one.
Well, they made different ones. In 80 and 81, they made them without guards and with guards at the same time, which is
gotcha.
really, really confusing.
Yeah.
I bought mine at out in L.A. I forget that it was off Sunset.
There was a bunch
store.
of stores
Yeah,
back there.
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah, but yeah, I traded Ovation 1984. Remember those?
Oh yeah, good trade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think I sold that later on to V, but
But real fast education on Vs.
Yes.
The first 50s Vs are completely different, and I'll show a picture of it. And then they come out with these, which is shorter, like an extended body with a different cutaway.
Yeah.
And they're thinner.
Yes.
And the headstocks.
I do like how thin this is
Yeah,
compared
the
to mine.
headstocks are different.
Yeah, headstock's definitely different.
And
I do
they
like
have
the
this
headstock
tremolo
better.
system.
Yes.
which
And
is
then-
awful.
And then the next version of V is called a medallion V. And it's basically the same body with a stop tail.
Okay. Yeah.
And
yeah.
those are like,
And a big emblem down.
yeah,
on
it has a
with-
metal coin in it.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
medallion in it. And those are all numbered. I have one of those I'll show one day too. And that's for a year or two, I think 70 or 71 maybe. Or maybe it's just 1 year because it's some anniversary or something. And then they start making the 70s style Vs. The very first ones still have the long headstock.
Yeah.
And then around 72 or 3, they go to a shorter headstock.
Yep.
It's kind of stubbier.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
And they
Well,
still
it's
have
not that
stop
early
tail
still, but
pieces, and the body is slightly different. And what's interesting about this one, and it's really strange because my Pelham one is the same way. Do you notice that that's nickel?
Yeah, I was curious about that.
Yeah, that's sort of like a lot of these were very handmade. If I looked at inside of it, it's like hand carved. A lot of these,
Really?
and it's like they were using up the parts because they didn't really do a whole lot of these. So my other V has a nickel cover and a chrome cover too, and my Pelham one has a PAF, which supposedly stopped in '64.
Gotcha.
So, they're all sort of different.
Right.
I don't remember the serial number on this one, but most of them are. Yeah, this is 265. 000 265.
Wow.
So it's from probably the second batch. My Pelham one is 4 zeros and a 14, which is from the very first prototype ones.
Jesus,
and it was probably a NAMM show guitar.
Yeah, did you say they made one red and one blue?
Yeah, supposedly at the NAMM show they did a blue one, a red one, and a white one. And my friend was at the NAMM show in his store when he was a kid. He worked there. His store bought all the NAMM show Vs. And he didn't even know I had the Pelham when he was telling me the story. And the store he worked for was in Columbus, and I found my guitar in Columbus, so I'm sure it's the same
Yeah,
guitar.
it's got to be.
It was in a closet though, right? Or
It was in a closet in a studio in Columbus, yeah.
No, parts were on it. I'll tell the story.
Yeah, it was. It had a garbage bag with all the parts on it tied around the headstock, and it was in the closet.
Wow,
that's
So
insane.
anyway, that guitar was all original. I bought it from the original owner. It actually was a guitar that walked in the store when Stone Temple Pilots were in the store.
Oh wow, yeah.
And they were like freaking out over that guitar, and they still ask me about it when I come in the store. Do you still have that Flying V that was there the day we came in?
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it's a cool guitar. And I like the Sunburst ones myself.
Yeah, I do too. It's very neat. You don't see them very often either.
Put some flowers on it, be like Hendrix.
So what made you like Flying Vs?
Man, it's one of those things. Like so obviously like when I was a kid, like I was into Metallica and stuff, and Hetfield and Hammett were playing Flying Vs back in the day, and then I don't know. It's like I always wanted something a little bit different. Like everybody was playing Strats or Les Pauls, and I've always kind of leaned more towards Gibson, even though I kind of like the playability of a Fender a little bit better.
Yeah.
It caters to my playing a little bit more, like having humbuckers because I'm not very good. So
It's interesting because I generally think Fenders are harder to play.
Really? Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Scale.
It's just, but yeah. So that, and then I saw, like, obviously I was into Hendrix, and then when I saw that Cherry Flying V with the Bigsby on it, which I still have yet to do to mine, but I went in that Zwan video. I don't know, just the coolest thing ever.
Well, I have a Lonnie Mack reissue. I'll just buy that for you.
Yeah, I will work on that. I will set up a layaway payment plan.
There you go.
But yeah, man, I don't know. It's just something I was always drawn to, and I always wanted something just a little bit different. And it's very hot rod esque. Like I'm like a car guy and a motorcycle guy, and I don't know, just something just screams hot rod American classic to me.
Yeah, they've become kind of like, what's considered to be metal guitars, probably because KK.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't really see them that way. They're modernism, they're like 50s.
Yeah,
modernism.
I don't see them that way. They're like I don't know, like if I sit down and like jam on Slayer, like that's not the guitar I go for.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
It's like,
Well, you're proving they're hard to play sitting down though.
No, if you play them like that.
Yeah,
I
I've
mean,
kinda
you
gotten
got
used to
it's
it
kind
over
of
the
got
years.
to get used to it a little bit, but
for sure.
Yeah. Well,
More
can't wait
like
to hear the song, man.
I could see what's his name, Segova or Sakova, playing
Andre
like
Segovia?
because like his angle that
It is like a classical stance for sure.
It's different.
Get your little foot pedal.
I think he plays a Strat though.
All right, so this is Cold Sweat. Woke up dreaming in a cold, cold sweat. Secrets you're keeping, ain't found them yet. I've been through hell since the day you left, waiting on you to claim your latest taunt theft. I started drinking, I'm out of sense left. You changed the sheets and pulled the curtains, I bet. No guilty conscience, no sounds of regret. My heart is on the mend, I guess. I'll burn it down and sit right here and watch it. The hands of hell won't slow me down. Sit back and watch me drown. Watch me drown. The birds ain't singing, the phone ain't ringing. You and the devil know the secret you're keeping. By the time the morning comes, you'll take to leaving. If I had it my way, you won't be breathing. I'll burn it down and sit right here and watch it. The hounds of hell won't slow me down. Grab hold of my spirit and watch it. Sit back and watch me drown. Watch me drown. Sit right here and watch it. The hounds of hell won't slow me down. Grab hold of my spirit and watch it. Sit back and watch me drown. Watch me drown.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah,
man.
I like to make that. Like, I like to write stuff that translates fun to play live.
Oh yeah, that was so much fun.
Was like, just like that song's like kind of a straightforward song, and I came with that little lick, and
I like it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You know, this is a weird thing to say because it's not you, but it reminded me like a Knack tune or something.
Kind of.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I
It's
got
like,
that vibe.
yeah, that was killer,
Really?
man.
Okay.
So is that on any albums or anything?
It'll be this will be a 4-song EP we're doing. We're 3 in right now. This is actually the last song we're going to record. So we got everything done but this one. We got drums done on it, but that's it so far. Cool. But yeah, it'll be
So
out
you
next
guys
year.
are doing great, man.
So far, so good, man.
I feel like I've known you since you were little.
Yeah. I've been coming in the store. My dad's been bringing me down since I was probably 13.
Oh,
so,
yeah. That's so awesome.
It's pretty wild.
Grab hold of my spirit and wash it. I love it. Yeah, that was good.
16
Thank
now.
you.
I was like,
And never been
He's
kissed.
16 and you're 76. So yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you very
great
much. Thank you. Very
Really
much,
good.
man.
All right,
This is,
that's it then. Oh wait, I'm sorry.
This thing just feels amazing. Like it's set up
It
fantastic.
looks
too.
amazing.
yeah.
I don't know.
And you played it on the rhythm pickup, which is
Yeah, like,
interesting.
well, it's kind of how I like. So, for what I do, I don't want to say I'm not a fan of like acoustic guitars or playing acoustic guitar, but like I like that like just kind of subtle breakup in on the neck pickup. And just I don't know what it is, like especially for stuff like that. It just kind of it just makes it a little beefier.
It thickens it up for sure, especially when you're playing by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's thick. Yeah.
So yeah.
And you know those SGs and Vs and even Explorers, when you flip to the high, you know the lead pickup, it tends to be a little bitey and
It is,
thin.
absolutely.
You know,
When I play unplugged, I always keep it on the rhythm pickup.
I actually have in my Flying V, I have a Chrome Dome single coil like telly pickup in my Strat pickup in the bridge, and I have a 57 Classic in the neck. And I more often than not, I almost use it for like a volume switch. Like if it's like a verse thing, I flip it down to the bridge, and then for solos and everything else, I play it in the neck position.
I own 2 Vs, but I forget like what are is it 2 volumes, 1 tone, or is it 2 tones? 1 volume?
Yeah, it's 1 volume, 2 tones.
Okay.
At least mine is. Yeah.
I
And
just
mine
have
actually.
to say that sounds like a porn. I'm sorry.
Soft.
Mine actually
Adult.
The other I actually have no tone knobs. I have it's pretty much all 1 volume knob, and it's one of those hot pots that clicks on
that's
and
cool.
bypasses
Yeah,
everything.
right on.
But the knobs are still there, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, it was good, man. I really am so glad you guys are doing so well. And
Give it hell, man.
What's coming up? Tell us about what's coming up.
Man, like I said, we're working on an EP right now, so we're not playing a whole bunch. We do have New Year's Eve, which we never do because I'm superstitious, but here we are. We're playing. We're doing a thing down at Beer Cellar in Newport.
Neat.
For New Year's Eve.
Superstitious about New Year's Eve.
Yeah. This is a really strange story, I guess. When I was a kid, so when the year 2000 rolled around, Y2K. Yes.
We all did it. Yeah.
So, like I said, my grandparents were are very, very religious, and
kind of thought it.
The Y2K thing was like such a scare, and at the age that I was, so it was like a really terrifying thing. Well, on New Year's Eve, like my parents would go out and have dinner, do whatever they did, and I would spend the night with grandma usually, and I always had this impending fear of like my parents dying on New Year's Eve. I don't know why.
Well,
just
it's
this like
night, so.
like it was. I was just always like really terrified of that. And,
Well, you related that change with something else horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
change is
it's something that I always felt, and then Y2K came around. I vividly remember this for the rest of my life. My grandfather like being like Y2K, like just trying to freak me out. Like, I don't think he was really
with you.
Yeah, like I don't think he really realized how like internally like tormented I was with the thought. Like I was like calling my parents at dinner, like you know what I mean, like what's going on? Like, are you guys alive? And so I think that's where it stems from. So I just really kind of like to be with family or close friends. I like to hang out with my dog and my girlfriend.
That's so weird to young people, I bet, to hear that, because I mean, we all went through that. Maybe not you, you're too young, but
Oh, thank you. I did.
But going through that was a big deal, man. People thought cars were going to crash into each other, and planes were going to
and I thought it was like
I still lived in
apocalyptic,
New
especially
York
with my
on
upbringing.
Y2K, and I had a gig that night or whatever, and got sauced and left all my gear behind, and it was still there in the morning, which I can't believe. But I wanted the grid to go down so bad. Like, come on. You know, it's such a letdown, man. I thought it'd be great, man.
At the
Just
Hyatt
like
Regency in Columbus, I remember that night I wore nothing. I wore whipped cream over my junk.
Yes.
That night, hoping
Just
that
in case,
all the lights would go out and I'd come back on.
so everybody would have something to
like
eat.
the apocalypse.
Yeah, everybody's starving.
More frosting, anyway.
And with that, we'll move on to the next scene. Hey Siri, write me a good bird song.
I'm sorry, I kind of set the conversation with the drugs.
I'm somebody, Mike.
Which is not as dangerous as texting while you're driving.
I'm telling you, Mike. I'm telling you, you wouldn't listen to me. Suddenly you find yourself saying things like, I don't even think that. I'm just mad at you.
Well, I thought I might get to play Gibson today, but I was too late.
Nope, that's it. That is a 64 ES 335.
I feel like that's something that I could take with me.
Any doctors in the audience, get in contact with William.
Jen, you know what? I feel real embarrassed about that because I don't know if it's a soft G or a hard G.
Well, that's not at all what I expected to hear.
Yeah.
Same with me.
I think I now have a smartphone that is smart.
That's the marketing campaign.
Yeah.
You guys probably spent some days in the White Castles.
Just gonna take this off.
I'm drinking the coffee, though.
Back on the show again. Yeah. So Joe, man, we've known each other a long time. We've tried to be in bands together many times.
Yes.
And it's never lasted long. I blame
Still
me.
working on it.
Yeah, so I can't remember how many, but at least a couple. We attempted,
that's right.
maybe played one gig, maybe, I don't know. Maybe not.
Egos. We did. We did
Yeah.
the tornado relief thing, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, there we did. Okay, yeah,
I
we did.
thought we did, yeah.
So your band is wonderful. You guys
Thank
are
you.
hitting it hard.
Wait,
You just-
name of the band?
Lift the medium.
Yes.
Lift the medium, yeah.
Lift
Yeah.
the L-I-F-T.
You know, I've never asked you, where did that name come from?
Just generating band name ideas.
Is it like a
et cetera,
medium, like a spiritual?
Well,
or
it can kind of flow both ways. Like the medium, like art, like it could be a certain medium, or
Oh, okay.
medium
Oh, okay.
being the middle, and that's more of what it meant.
Right.
When we were coming up with the name, it was kind of like this deterioration of the middle class. And it was
How long you guys been around?
Yeah, at first it
Yeah.
was like this. Well, it was like being better than medium, being better than middle.
I
So
gotcha.
lift,
I gotcha.
so being better than the average.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
that's
More
where that
positivity.
comes from.
Good meaning.
So lift the medium, and a lot of people have their own take on it,
Well, that's the best name.
Even a medium being that person who can, like that, kind of
Right.
soothsayer sort of
Right.
thing going on, and so.
Did you guys have a long find the band name period? I hate that period.
It took a
Put
while,
things in a hat and
but
pick
as
it
soon
out.
as that came
Yeah.
up, my brother's like, "Hey,
Everybody
how about-"
instantly
and we were
knew
like,
that's the one.
I like that. It's very different. It's a little hard to say but once you get it clicks.
And you guys have
yeah.
interesting graphics. It's like, it's sort of Tron-like crossed with like
Tron.
Yeah, it's
like
the
it's
recent
like,
Tron or
like ancient space.
yeah, it's like you know,
okay. I can dig it.
You know what it reminds me of is like 70s funk
Yeah,
artwork
absolutely.
crossed with Tron.
Yes.
It's like interesting, man.
One of my favorite
dig
band
that.
T-shirts is I got the Lift the Medium T-shirt when we did that Candlebox thing. It's got like the really bright like pink and green and like blue neon.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like one
right.
of my
Yeah,
favorite
in
shirts.
fact, that was
Sex
one of the glow in the
Pistols.
dark.
Yeah,
stuff
it's
we
glow in the
did.
dark,
Yes,
yeah,
glow in the
it's
dark
like-
shirt. So yeah.
I want one.
I already wanted it. He was like, I think it was Justin Kennedy was like, when he was in the band or whatever, he was like, it's glow in the dark. I was like, sold.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that's always impressed me about you guys is and everything you do. By the way,
Thank you.
It's always
Thanks.
done so precise. It's always done so well and so professional. I mean, you guys don't know like even the little details with you. Like you have one of the coolest like pedal boards of all time.
Yeah.
You inspired me.
I built
It's
one.
like he's got like
Oh, you're the one.
it's multi-levels with like lights and
Yeah, built
all-
lights
Oh,
underneath.
I just like looking at your pedal board. It's like a show, man.
Who's playing tonight? Who cares?
Look at that pedal board.
Man, you know, pedal boards playing tonight.
Yeah, but everything they do is like that, which is well thought out and well rehearsed, and it's nice, man. You
It
know?
is. You guys are
Where
talented.
it's like,
Everybody in that
Thanks,
band's
brother.
skilled.
Yeah.
yeah, it's way cool, man. So, how's things been going with the band? What do you got coming up?
Well, actually, we have a show coming up next weekend at Muddy Creek up in it's outside of Columbus next Saturday. And we just got done with our Cornell gigs, which we were super stoked about.
Yeah.
Doing the
Those are
Grunge
great.
Night thing, which was
Yeah,
awesome.
you guys
Big
have
turnout
great
videos
up
and
in Louisville and
I heard they
Cincinnati.
were.
So that's super fun. Joey does a great job of
he
doing
sounds
Chris
so good.
Cornell. We just have a ball. We had a fill-in guitar. Our bassist Ryan, he rocked, and it was super fun. But we're in the middle of a lineup change, so we're trying to find players that are going to bring it to the table and help us
Commit.
keep going. Yeah. That is. It's very hard. Yeah, because it's not
happens,
just
man.
playing the music, but just being
Sometimes
cool
it's
and-
great having a new thing
Yeah.
come in, revitalize.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
That's what they tell me after they kick me out.
You're gonna have fun somewhere else.
Man, this band's awesome now. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So, what tune is this, and what album is it?
Well, it's not off of anything. This is quite a departure. I'm used to playing,
I gotta say,
Yeah.
from
The
a
heavy
flying
stuff.
V,
Yeah.
from a flying V to an Explorer.
So
you got,
yeah,
that's a
I'm
good.
used to play, having the meat and muscle back there, but this is quite a departure. Kind of cliff notes on this song. It probably won't be anything that's ever recorded or released. It may.
So this is an exclusive.
Well, this is something. I lived I lived in San Francisco for a while, and then I lived in LA. When I was out there, a buddy of mine, I wanted to write a country song, but it ended up having this beach vibe. And I worked with Chris Rook on this, did some slide on it, some lap steel. And we just kind of put it to bed. He turned it into kind of a hip hop song. I still wanted it to be a country song. I didn't know
Country
where
surf
I didn't know where it was
That's
going
a
to
thing
go.
now, man.
Neil Young.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it went to bed, and then I moved home and back to Ohio, and then fast forward, several years later, had some kids. I didn't have kids. Mom had kids, but we had kids, right?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I don't have anything about my kids. I'm writing all these heavy metal songs, hard rock songs about anything but children, right? So,
Pick up your toys.
so it was kind of like I had this
The kid
melody in
is
my
hot.
mind because sometimes I work the opposite way. I don't riff right. I'll write the melody first. I'll just hear like B minor, whatever, and then I'll
Minor being the kid.
You just get the melody in my head, and then go back to the chords and what works underneath that.
Okay.
Working kind of the opposite way. And then I had some lyric ideas, the melody, and then I'm like, I remember that song I did with Chris a while back in California, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and then
Beach country hip hop song.
yeah,
Right.
and then I'm like, yeah, why not? Then I worked on it a little bit. I played it for my brother and Joey. It's not our thing. It's not a lift the medium song per se, but Joey's like, wow, that's a really cool
Now, is
song.
Joey-
So Joey's our lead singer.
Is he a twin though? Because
No,
your
that's
brother-
brother's Jake. My
Okay,
brother-
okay,
whoop.
all right. You guys are twins though.
No, we're not.
Okay, but
we're
you
3
guys
years
look the
apart,
same?
but
Okay.
we look close enough together.
do look
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah, that we get that all the time. Are you guys twins?
Yeah.
Sometimes I play it out.
Twin sons of
Yeah.
different mothers.
Yeah, I was not.
Jake.
I was.
And
I was
he's
almost
Joe.
semi-joking earlier when I made the joke about not knowing who I was talking to. Like
Everybody does it.
If we're happen to be in the same room, or like if I'm out where you guys are playing or something, and I see you guys both in the dark or whatever.
No.
Like until you get on stage, I'm like I
Yeah.
just talked to one
I don't
of them.
really
I don't know
think
which
you
one I just talked to.
I don't think you guys look that much the
Really?
same.
Fair enough, because we get that too. Like, oh no, you're
strange.
I know you're the old one. He's the
Your mom never
young
mixes
little
it up,
whippersnapper.
right?
So did you guys play together as little kids?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we've been playing, gosh, for
Van Halen
since we were kids. Yeah.
Okay, you,
know,
got to
it
find me a
was-
picture when you're little playing together.
Okay, yeah. Oh, they're circulating. Yeah, we have a bunch of them.
So this is going to be an exclusive for Fret Buzz then.
Yeah, it sure will. Yeah,
That's
I probably
awesome.
won't do this anywhere else. You know, like I
Yeah.
said, I just did it for Joey and Jake. We're in a hotel room. We're doing some recording up at Sonic Lounge up in Columbus with Joe Veers, and we were recording the second Lift the Medium album. And like, hey, check this out. And we're not going to record this, but it's quite a departure.
Well,
from
cool.
what
Well,
we used
we'll
to
have
do.
it
So,
captured now.
Yeah.
But back to it. Yeah, it's a song about the kids and the struggle with mom and everything. And
I don't know about
it's
this.
kind of it's a little more on the surface than specifics per se. It kind of lets people make up their own minds what they want to hear. So.
You came along, I wasn't ready for you, but you came along anyway. A sweet surprise at your mother's eyes, and Jimmy James is your name. Oh, baby James and Lillian, you're my best two friends. Make a father amends, give you love round the world, get you home again. But this father must refrain. Must refrain. Years are gone and I'm living at home, living out of my bags from LA. Thought the moment would pass and the first was the last. Baby girl, turn a stone into flame. Oh, baby James and Lillian, you're my best two friends. Make a father amend, give you love of the world and get you home again. But this father must refrain. Your mom and I on this merry-go-round, not so very merry, 'cause stars collide and knock out even the bright sky. And today and tonight, faster than any child's plight, from a father who must refrain, must refrain.
My whistle wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
Thanks, man.
never enough whistling
Like I said,
songs.
quite a very different from what I'm
Damn,
used to doing.
that definitely has like
great.
this California Loggins and Messina yacht rock.
Cool. I can dig it. Yeah.
I got, like,
Joey was like, man, it's kind of Elton Johnny.
I got a little
whatever.
Cat Stevens off of you there.
Okay, cool. I can dig it. Thank you very much.
When you were starting it, I was getting like, the good, bad, and the ugly. I was wishing I had my poncho. I should have had my poncho.
West Coast Cowboy song. That was strong, man. That was really a beautiful song.
I like.
I felt for you when you whistle laughed, man.
I'm like, give me more. Give me an. I'm like,
Too much
the
coffee.
second one was good. Yeah.
That song was sponsored by Ritz.
It's kind of like, I was gonna say Sylvester eating saltines. You see him coming out.
That was great.
That was
Thanks.
It was wonderful.
Very
brother.
much.
I love whistling songs.
And I like it
Never
because it's a departure from what I'm used to you playing.
Sure. Yeah.
The times we played together or whatever, you would always play. Everything was drop D or whatever.
Oh man.
And
Yeah. Play the whole show in D,
Dude,
right?
you got it exclusive, man.
I couldn't take my hands off, or my eyes off his big man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, you go like
literally
6
have my eyes
frets.
closed.
I can get a good stretch. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
Look at that. In 100,000 years, could I do what you're doing?
It helps playing bass. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. I can do that with my life.
There you go.
Do that again.
Whipped cream with it.
Family show. You said PG.
Yeah,
Yeah, my bad.
PG.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks. That was exciting.
man.
Way cool.
Very nervous. Yeah.
Yeah,
you did
You
great.
sound like you were playing
Wonderful.
an acoustic guitar.
Thank
Like
you.
you're
Yeah.
like you're picking like it sound like it, you. If I had my eyes closed and you couldn't have told it.
You love acoustic guitars.
Isn't that crazy? Because
Yeah.
you played
And
on
I'm
the
so
bass.
used to
You
not
played on the
playing
neck,
acoustic
right?
'cause-
Right,
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Or in the middle.
In the
right?
middle.
In the
I
middle,
wanted
which gave it an
some of
open
my-
sound.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it sounded great. Who would think an Explorer would sound so acoustic
Yeah,
like
I
that?
said,
that was really cool.
Yeah.
I did. That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
And,
I love Explorers.
we
so-
talked ahead of time, and I already know he loves Explorers. So I brought a 76 Explorer because I know he's a big fan of those guitars. And what's cool is you're basically playing the Edge rig. You're playing through a 63 AC30
Box,
and a 76 Explorer. So,
Yeah.
They'll like put a bunch of echo and
That would actually be a really cool song with a bunch of staccato delay.
Yeah. Well, because at first we had the lap steel on it because I played lap steel when I was in the Floyd band, so it was really and the whistle came out of that because I was like something else is going on here. I was playing the lap steel. We tried a fiddle, we tried a banjo, you name it, and then I was just whistling on it. I'm like, that sounds kind of cool.
Like, a well-placed whistle in a song is like,
and it goes with like modern times now. The whistleblower,
yeah.
So what made you an Explorer fan or 76 Explorer fan?
Okay, so it kind of goes without saying. First show, 91, Metallica. Went with a bunch of kids from school. I'm staying at Jerry's house. Jerry's staying at mine, kind of thing. Yeah, Mom, we're good. This is before Uber and all that.
Little Kings.
There was no plan on getting back home. We got a cab. Anyhow, saw Metallica, saw the Explorer, and I'm like, wow. Okay, so fast forward to me playing guitar. I do use a Strat a lot, use Les Paul, I use everything, whatever fits the song. I love Explorers, but I was always afraid of playing the Explorer because I thought people would be like, you're trying to be like James Hetfield.
Right.
You're trying to be like
That's funny
so-and-so.
you bring up Metallica too, because that was kind of my first on the V.
Yeah, you said
Well, I
that.
think your
With those,
brother
yeah,
looks
and they
more
did.
like
They
James
had those
Hetfield.
V's. Yeah. So anyhow, we did a benefit, an autism benefit. I'll never forget. Bella put that together, and it was our first show as Lift the Medium. And I'm like, I'm gonna break out the Explorer. Why not?
Yeah.
And I had a guy from the crowd come up like, man, you look really good with this Explorer. I saw you guys in our old band, Atlantis Becoming. He's like, you always played a Strat or Les Paul. He's like, you look good with an Explorer. You're a big guy.
That's got to be a big pat on the back.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm not trying to be James Hetfield. He's like, that was my last thought. He's like, you're a big guy. He's like, I've seen you play the Strat
Yeah,
before.
I don't think
you
a
make
Hatfield.
it go all like this.
Right.
He's like, the Explorer, you're big, and he's like, it fits you. So
It's weird how guitars make a difference. Like, usually like a short fat guy like me, playing a giant like J200 just doesn't work. Then you're like a big round dude. You know what I mean? So, but no, that's perfect.
Well, I predate my, day or whatever. Does James Hetfield, so it's like
Me
I
too.
never think him.
I would never think
Or Rick
Hatfield.
Nielsen or Alan Collins from Skinner, right?
Yeah.
Even
big,
I go back further than that, but
fair enough.
the
Yeah,
frying
I
pan,
wouldn't consider myself
Rick
like a
Bucket.
big Metallica fan. Like there's a couple of Metallica albums I really like, but like I'm not like a diehard or anything. So like it's just a weird thing that like that was kind of a. It was probably just like the first time I really saw Flying V. You know?
Yeah.
So we did talk, and specifically you said your dream guitar was a 76 Explorer.
Yeah.
So that's why I brought that guitar. So it being a 76 Explorer, what made you like that year? It had nothing to do with U2?
Well, it was just the reinvention of the Self, right? They came out in '58, and they were supposed to be a jazz guitar first, right? Wasn't it built for jazz or no?
I mean, not really jazz.
Well, okay, fair. Well, when it was reintroduced, it was decommissioned. Well, not decommissioned, but they took it off the shelf in '63.
Yeah, 76 is the first reissue.
Okay, and then '76 they came back out with it, and it's it's just the revitalization of something that may have not worked the first time, but now it will.
Yeah.
The size of it, the feel of it.
Yeah. Well, the difference between the 50s ones and the 70s ones is the 70s ones, 76 ones are mahogany, and the first ones are koa wood, like the little guitar. I mean, that's the
Dark
main,
state.
there's a lot of little differences, but that's the main difference.
Yeah.
And I've always loved 76 Explorers. Like, I'm a pretty big U2 fan, but I just like the way they sound because I stumbled into them back when they weren't that popular and just loved the way they sound. I think they sound great. And I like mahogany guitars anyway. So I've always bought and sold them, and I've loved them. And I always have a couple around. So
I used to go see Big Ed Thompson playing with
he had a real 58.
Original, probably bought it.
Oh wow!
But got run over by a car. I mean, this thing was all glued together.
Well, that's a famous guitar.
Yeah,
it's in the guitar world. It's still out there.
Oh yeah. That was excellent.
Yeah, we used to watch them at Corey's too.
Yeah.
I wish I would have bought that guitar back then.
Was that offered?
No, but
John Rogers playing the bass. He'd stomp the floor so hard the placement shake.
That was great.
H-Bomb is like
Tell me about it.
And it's
sexy.
Selection of wigs.
Yeah, great.
The Explorer, that 76 Explorer is interesting because they made them for like 76 and 77 or something. They were still called 76 Explorers. Some of them say limited edition on the sticker and some of them don't. I'm not sure exactly when or why, but we can look into that and talk about it on the show. And also, they didn't sell them off. So the 76 Explorers ended up going all the way up into like 79. They just took the features off them. They just called them Explorers. So some of the earlier or late 70s, or even the early 80s ones are still mahogany.
Okay.
And then they changed the wood after that.
Okay.
So
but they were
with the E2s and the Explorer 2s, yeah.
The 76 ones have 76 dates, and some of them say also limited edition.
Right.
But then if you see a 77 or 78, it's the same guitar.
Okay.
Right. It's just, it's just like leftover guitars the same way. But yeah, they're cool guitars, man. I really liked them. I had one that was probably a leftover one that was what I called tuna burst, which was like this green burst.
Ooh. Yes,
really, really cool. Yeah. It's super
I don't know
ugly.
what kind of tuna you get.
Yeah. Looks like a tuna fish.
Tuna fish.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it sounded great.
I think of Paul Stanley anytime I see Explorer.
Well, that was an Iceman.
Iceman, yeah.
No, but he
still
played Explorers.
I get.
Don't you remember Kiss Alive one?
Well, Cheap Trick. There's a lot of bands.
Rick
Nelson. Yeah.
That's one thing. Back to Coheed.
David Grohl used it for a little bit.
Coheed is like one of the newer bands that I actually really like. I don't like a ton of new music, especially bands that are like popular like that. And I really got into Coheed mostly just vocally. Like people just don't sing like that anymore, like in any capacity.
Right.
And I got way into him, and I thought it was cool. He brought that back, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I got to tell you, man, this was one of the best shows we had. I loved it.
This is fantastic.
So
This
good.
is so fun.
Such a great time.
Thanks, William.
Thank you, Janelle, for serving us today.
Yeah, you're the queen.
And thank you for the gift.
Yes, thank you for the gift.
Awesome.
I'm going to see if I can make it stay on the mic there the whole time.
Two-sided tape.
So I want to tell everyone out in the audience, please go and subscribe to the Village YouTube page. Go to each artist's website, Facebook page, like them, buy some of their stuff, man. Buy some CDs, buy a T-shirt, hat, help them out. Go see some shows.
We like hugs. I like hugs.
Yeah.
I like
hugs. Are good. William likes hugs.
Hugs are better than drugs.
That's right.
I prefer, no.
But that's what matters, man. Get out and support the music, everybody. Coffee up, guys.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yeah. Clink.
I used to stay up all night 'cause my dreams made me cry.
myself. There's no one else that I'd rather be. I'm an original.
I'll burn it down and sit right here and watch it. The hounds of hell won't slow me down. Grab a hold of my spirit and watch it. Sit back and watch me drown. Watch me drown.
Lillian, you're my best two friends. Make a father amends. Give you love round the world. Get you home.